Hello and welcome to the Legends and Lads Cricket Podcast. I'm Chirunandhan Srinath, your host for this week. We have Vijay Lokapally sir joining us after a short while. And sir, you are the host of this podcast, but I think today we'll go back to when you started as a guest on our show, like how we talked to you and interviewed you. I think that time it was about MS Dhoni, and this time I think we are talking about Virat Kohli, and you know him better than anyone else because you wrote his biography, driven the Virat Kohli story, back in 2016 when he was playing. So it wasn't like when he was at his peak. So you know him as a Delhi boy, as a young bud coming out from the under 19 and the domestic cricket and going on to win so many achievements. So Vijay sir, we are going to talk about Virat Kohli and particularly your book. Thank you for coming, sir. It's been a short while since you last appeared on the show. Thank you for coming. And how are you feeling, sir?
I'm good. I good. I remember the episode with Ramji Srinivasan, and he was that was quite entertaining.
This episode is brought to you in collaboration with the Byline, an independent online news platform delivering credible and in-depth coverage across business, finance, sports, and more. You can check them out at www.thebyline.in for insightful news and stories that keep you informed. Vijay sir, my first question to you: when Virat first broke out as a youngster, did you feel that he was already setting him apart from rest of his generation? The other players in domestic cricket when he was coming up, maybe his under 19 days or the Ranji days.
He was, in fact, when he was coming up, there was so much of talk about him in Delhi. Uh, Remember those days? Uh, you may think cricket wasn't very so competitive at the junior level, but it was, and one had to be very consistent because there was a transition period in Indian team. Stalwarts had bowed out, and there was talk of new blood coming up. And Virat had already made a name in junior cricket, and he was in Delhi. He was talked of very highly because of the quality he brought into his game, his fielding, his work ethics even then, and obviously his batting, because his batting had a mark of someone who's very special. The way he would drive the ball, he would pick the ball early. So that was a great quality, to establish himself. So I think he was one of the most gifted players, sure, but also you should remember how he worked hard on his game.
Yes, sir. And we need to talk about his under 19 World Cup in 2008, and he was a captain. And in Malaysia, he won the ICC title there. So, how much was I'm sure it was a turning point in his career, but how much of Virat we know today was visible back even then?
One is, I remember I had met him after he'd come back from the Triumph, and he was a kid, but he spoke with such confidence. His coach was there his coach Rajkumar Sharma joined to kind of support, but he was hardly needed because Virat had shown his leadership qualities at the tournament. He did exceptionally well, and he had played true to his reputation. He was talked of as somebody who is being groomed or can be groomed for the senior squad, and there was no doubt that he was he was moving in the right direction. The most important thing that struck me was his confidence when he spoke, and the discipline that dominated his cricket, because on his return, very next day, he was at the nets to have a extended practice. So I think he showed very early, I should say, the symptoms of a player who can be groomed to play long, but the strides he made in international cricket probably must have surprised himself.
People talk about a lot about Virat's aggression. Now, do you think that fire was always in him? even as a youngster or a teenager, or did it evolve with time? You did mention that he was always energetic on the field. So, as a player, maybe seniors or him playing against the seniors, did he have the same fire while playing with the seniors, or it evolved as he became the senior player?
It evolved, no doubt, but he was very aggressive, and it came only from his confidence. You know, he had the confidence that he could play with some of the bigger players, and I remember his coach would say that there were times when he found it very difficult to tell Virat that, look, this is a match involving senior players and you better rest. So, but he wanted to play with the senior players so that it would be a platform for him to learn. It would be a platform for him to tell the world that he is ready. And I like this aggression. It is part of Delhi cricket. You have to be aggressive because there is such competition, severe. You have to do well, constantly do well to keep your place. So I think it was um, natural. It nothing was put on. But remember that aggression also allowed him to become what he was, or what he went on to, how he went on to dominate world cricket, whether in any format, whether look at test matches, you look at ODIs, T20s, IPL, but test cricket was what he loved.
And behind the aggression, how did you see his softer side? I'm sure you worked with him. They call him the family man or the loyal friend. You've come across his journey, and I'm sure even when he plays a match in Delhi, and if his coach is there, he goes and takes his blessings. So there is a softer side of Virat Kohli when he's off the field.
He's See, look at his friend circle. It is all his earlier friends are there, and when he was at his wedding, he did not forget any of his days, players, friends from junior days. You know, he was, and he knew them. He kept in touch with them. Obviously, you he couldn't have been meeting them every day because he was traveling, playing cricket all the time. But he had them in his mind. He has always. I have known him to help junior cricketers with equipment, with clothing, and he does a lot of charity. And his own he is known to also sponsor athletes for their training. So I think he is a very generous person. You must understand that he has come up the hard way. He lost his father very early, in the sense he was just into early days of first class cricket, and how he emerged from there, such a strong man, backing himself to do well. And the most important thing is he has remained disciplined. He was very obedient as far as coach was concerned, who was more like a father figure. Rajkumar Sharma was a father figure to him more than a coach, guiding him in every walk of life. So I think he learned his lessons very well. Plus, he had a good friend circle.
Vijay sir, we know how Virat Kohli transformed post 2011 when he looked at himself in the mirror and said that, looking at himself and the shape of his body, he believed that to be an international cricketer at that level, he needed much more than, I mean, it demanded much more than what he was back then. And we saw how he transformed, and he became a run machine later after that. I want you to talk about his mental aspect as well, because he said in many of his interviews that he does, when he walks out to bat, the opposition, they shouldn't be thinking he's just another batter coming and batting for his team. He believed that uh, he wanted them to get scared or be overwhelmed that Virat Kohli is coming to bat. So talk about that mental aspect of what he wanted to create in the game.
Most important, if you see, he wanted to create that um, the habit of winning, the habit of dominating on the field, for which a lot of sacrifices. He gave up the food which he loved, so his diet changed, his discipline of training changed. The focus was purely on staying fit. His fitness level, which he achieved, allowed him to play every grade of cricket non-stop. He didn't have to take rest. So it also rubbed on to the other colleagues, who now became. There was a time when they would all keep a beard like he would keep, and then they also tried to imitate his fitness because he was setting examples with his fitness, and the players also realized that being fit allowed them to raise their game, allowed them to play at their best. Because if you are fit, you are performing regularly, and when you perform regularly, you are able to achieve your goals, which is what he was doing, setting examples. Uh, and I remember he told me once in an interview that I ask my players to do things which I do. It's not that he will say, okay, you go and do this and I won't do this. No. So he would set examples because tomorrow a player can turn around and say that you're not doing this. So he gave very little scope. And the fact that he was also always ready to help them in terms of technical training, in terms of fitness training, in guiding their diet plans. The team also had people, qualified people to handle this. But what I liked about uh, Virat the most was his discipline to play Test cricket. I mean, if you see worldwide, he was known to popularize Test matches and how he brought the crowds back to the stadium to watch Test matches.
His lean patch or the tough phases that he had in 2020 to 2022. And uh, Virat Kohli wasn't scoring centuries as he used to, but he was still scoring the half centuries. But people kept, cribbing and asking him why aren't the centuries coming? I think that has come because of the fact that he set that standard of what he's capable of, and he scored those many runs and centuries after centuries. Whichever series, whichever country is going to play, he's done that. So I think he set himself that standard, and that's why there was so much media coming in, and he also had that drought in those 2 years. So how do great players like Virat Kohli or even Sachin had that kind of a drought? So how do these players, or particularly how did Virat Kohli cope up, sir? What did you feel?
See, it was, please remember, all these loss of form has impacted every great batsman in the world. So he was no exception. The fact remains that there were times, if you go back and analyze, he was also getting out to some fantastic deliveries because opposition was always concentrating on him. So they wanted his wicket, so best of the deliveries would come to him. But that is no excuse. He coped with it. He did suffer a loss of form, but he came back and played some crucial knocks. I hope you remember when people were writing him off. He how he made runs in Australia. That great innings at Melbourne when he snatched the match away from Pakistan with some astonishing batting. I mean, I don't think any contemporary cricketer would have been able to play that kind of innings. No way. And he would keep his best for the best occasions. Yeah, like you said, he had set high standards, benchmarks. So everybody would want him to go and make 100 every time he was at the crease. It doesn't happen. Uh, it is actually, you must realize, one ball. I mean, you may have played 50 balls, but the 51st ball you can get out. So that is the beauty of the game. You can't bat forever, but you can bat good or at your best, given the circumstances, challenging circumstances. So I think Virat handled it very well. He handled the failures very well. He never blamed anybody. He took it in his stride and gave his best.
What is your favorite knock, Virat Kohli's knock throughout the years? He's given that Melbourne knock, or if it was 2016 T20 World Cup versus Australia in that quarterfinal. There have been so many 183 against Pakistan. So, uh, For you personally, sir, which one is your favorite Virat Kohli's now?
See, you are talking only about white ball cricket. He has been a great ambassador for test matches. A century in each innings in Australia in the test match. That was terrific batting. And some of us have watched him in domestic cricket. I can't show you the video. But for me, that one innings which made him the man. When he lost his father, he came and made runs against Karnataka, helped Delhi avoid the follow on. And in the process, he should have got 100, but he got a bad decision, which everybody knew on the field. But I was disappointed. They shouldn't have made their appeal against him. The wicketkeeper knew he had not touched the bat. The ball had not touched the bat. So I think he was. It's very difficult to pick one knock. That will I will always remember. It was a flawless innings at the Ferocious Kotla, and the one at Melbourne was to me. I mean, as they said, "Oh my God, that was it."
And I think, according to stats at least, he is the most successful Test captain so far India has had, because they won all the overseas, not all, but majority of the overseas tours that we played. We won in Australia. We're almost winning in England. We didn't win in South Africa, but we won in New Zealand again. So, if for me, the favorite test series was in, or favorite test match as a captain, Virat Kohli. It was that Lord's test that happened recently, 2021, I guess, on day 5, where he comes out and tells that, for 60 overs they should see hell, and the kind of energy that he brought to the bowlers and Siraj and everyone doing the magic. We had an episode recording of that 3 years ago, sir. But that talk about that kind of captaincy, is test captaincy, and particularly that game as well.
But that game was the whole team was motivated, and not just Virat Kohli. I mean, you saw how Siraj bowled. Siraj was amazingly. I mean, he performed like maybe a Kapil Dev, or maybe a Dennis Lilly, or maybe any of those great fast bowlers, Michael Holding. But he won the game. And from what situation? It was obviously Virat was involved, and for him, winning a test match was always a top priority. Playing a test match was a top priority, and that series saw Virat, the quality that made Virat a great cricketer, a great teammate, and what you must remember how he was motivating the bowlers every time. So he was to me a complete cricketer, a superb leader more than a captain. He led the team. He was a leader. So that's how I would like to remember Virat, leader of men.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay sir, for joining us today. It was wonderful having you again. And yeah, I won't call you a guest on our show. You are the host of this podcast, and it is incomplete without you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.